Hope isn't a strategy, but structure is. Hello there, this is Javier Correa, Legal Director of the Rothbard Group and spokesperson for the Rothbard Group. Again, today here in beautiful Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I could not think of a better jurisdiction, a better territory, a better country from which to make this video than Argentina. So today I want to talk about the difference between hope and an actual structured approach. Why I feel good about the former, but ultimately understand that I really need is the latter. So Argentina has been a country that has been on a roller coaster ride for the past couple of decades. If you look at Argentinian history, it's absolutely fascinating. Marked by Peronismo, so Evita Perón, Juan Domingo Perón. If you know your history, you know that these were emblematic, very important figures here in Argentinian politics. You know that this is a very workers-leaning, socialist-leaning type ideology with a little whiff of nationalism in there as well. Argentina has gone through hyperinflation, capital controls. I mean, it has been a country that has suffered. Just recently, for example, you had Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner and her husband also in power up until the early 2000s. They were aligned with 21st century socialism, Hugo Chavez in Venezuela. Argentina very much in a socialist state-oriented tendency. And again, we're not a political channel, so if you're into that, if you support that, hey, Godspeed to you. However, my point is a lot of people out there who crave freedom, who love freedom, who want free market economics, look to certain politicians as saviors. And nowhere can this be seen more clearly than here in Argentina with the recent, or relatively recent, election of President Javier Milei. So Javier Milei, we obviously love him here on this channel. He is a fan of the Austrian School of Economics, just like we are. He has even quoted Murray Rothbard himself, who is the namesake of our firm. He believes in free market economics. He believes in the minimal intervention of the state. He believes in maximizing individual and business freedom. So he's definitely our kind of guy when it comes to at least economic philosophy. Again, we don't get into the politics much, but when it comes to economics and tax policy, we definitely do like to share our opinions, but only and exclusively for that purpose. A lot of people saw the election of Javier Milei as, wow, this is the turning point for Argentina. Argentina is going to become a libertarian paradise. If you believe in free market economics, this is the time to move to Argentina. Argentina is going to become a utopia. It is going to become a paradise. And hey, I think Javier Milei is definitely pushing policies forward that put Argentina closer to that model, that push Argentina in that direction. But ultimately, the reality of politics has caught up to Javier Milei. Javier Milei may want to do 20,000 different things. You remember him with the chainsaw, Viva la libertad, carajo, right? The long live freedom, right? This is the guy who shut down ministries and government departments. And sure, he could do a lot of things under his executive authority and with his executive power as president, as commander-in-chief of the Argentinian Armed Forces and head of state of Argentina. But ultimately, like I said before, politics caught up to him. He does not control Congress. He does not control the courts. He cannot just wave the magic wand and turn an otherwise very socialist country into a libertarian paradise. And while we applaud his efforts and we believe we do need more politicians like Javier Milei, just hoping that Javier Milei comes around and fixes everything is not really a strategy you can rely on. If somebody like Javier Milei does come into power in your home country, support them by all means, hope for the best, but you also have to prepare for the worst. And this comes back to another thought that I continue to have constantly, which is that freedom is no longer found in one specific location. Yesterday, I was at Madero Tango. If you ever come to Buenos Aires, it is a wonderful place to watch a tango show inspired by Argentinian history and the different phases of Argentina's recent history. And it's a wonderful cultural event, and it's a lot of fun, and I do recommend it as a side note. But my point bringing this up was that at one point during the show, they talked about immigration to Argentina. And they showed some images that were very heartwarming to me, because they showed the old Argentinian docks and they showed pictures from those from that era and how thousands upon thousands of Spaniards and Italian immigrants came to this wonderful country, mainly in the late 19th and the first half of the 20th century, looking for a better life. And that resonated with me because I am the descendant of immigrants. My great-grandparents left Spain to look for a better life in the Americas, and at that time they arrived into what was doubtless one of the best countries in the world, Venezuela, and they made good money and they built new lives. And at that time, Venezuela was one of the places to be. If you're watching from North America, Canada, or the US, it is likely that your grandparents or great-grandparents or even your parents found their way there from Ireland or the UK or Germany or Italy as well. So in a way, many of us here in the Americas share this notion that someone in our family got on a boat and went to look for greener pastures elsewhere. And that's noble. But I think that that sentiment that we keep as the descendants of immigrants in our hearts is still alive in different ways. And let me explain why. It is no longer enough to look for one place where freedom can be found. So to go back to my earlier example, it is not enough to look for the Javier Mileis of the world and say, oh, Javier Milei's in power in Argentina, let's go to Argentina. No, true freedom is now found through structure. And structure now is a multi-jurisdictional international plan, because one country may offer more banking freedom, but another country may offer more corporate freedom, maybe more freedom and more flexibility in terms of how you manage your business or how quickly you can start your business or with whom you can actually do business. Maybe some other countries will offer more tax freedom for individuals, while others offer more tax freedoms for corporations. Maybe some countries will offer you more tools in terms of legacy planning, more flexibility in the ways of trusts and foundations than others do. Maybe some countries will offer foundations while others won't. Some will be more trust-oriented, some will be more foundation-oriented. In addition to that, if you are somebody who values social freedom for whatever reason, and you believe in individual liberties such as religious freedom or what they call reproductive rights nowadays or things like that, and you feel that that is very important to you, well, hey, some countries may offer you those freedoms, others may not so, or may not do it to the same extent. So my point is, freedom is no longer one location. Freedom is now a combination of locations to achieve your desired level of freedom. So Javier Milei, Donald Trump, whatever conservative, libertarian, free market candidate is in your country, I'm sure they're going to help. But ultimately, even though you hope for the best, you do have to keep in mind that in these times, in this era, it is absolutely necessary for you to have an approach that includes multiple jurisdictions. Because guess what? Javier Milei's friendly tax policies, they already exist. They just exist in places that don't advertise them too much. They exist in places like Panama, like Uruguay, like Barbados. Those places already have the policies that Javier Milei advocates and people like Javier Milei advocate for. So why not just simply go and look for those policies where they already exist instead of hoping that they be implemented in your home country? Listen, I'm Venezuelan. If there is somebody who understands hope for change, it's me. If there's somebody who understands having, grown up in a country that was once one of the wealthiest in the world and the wealthiest in Latin America and has seen his country decline, it's me. If there's somebody who would love to see change and would love to see his country restored to its former glory, it's me. Trust me, I understand. But at the same time, I'm not waiting around for Nobel Peace Prize winners or anyone else to make my country great again. What I'm doing is I am taking matters into my own hands, taking my prosperity back into my own domain, fighting for my freedom, and achieving my freedom every single day, regardless of politicians. If you want to take power from the politicians and you want to take that power for yourself, and you want to fight for your freedom individually and not wait for your Congress people, your presidents, your prime ministers, your kings to fight your wars for you, Rothbardgroup.com for further information. Drop a comment down below. Freedom all the way, and I'll see you in the next video.